Hello everyone. Welcome. Oh, looking for my pen. Hello everyone. Welcome back welcome to the Rise Report. My name is Jen. I like to go ahead and dive right into these. If you are new or anything like that to me, please make sure you drop a comment down below, because I would really like to get to know you and let me know where you are tuning in from the world. I'm going to take a breath here just a moment. I invite you to as well. Kind of came into this a little bit rushed, but we're going to go ahead and recalibrate, and I'm going to dive right into this week's Rise Report. Now, if you're new here, my name is Jen, and I am headmistress here at Rise Innerversity, where we help soulpreneurs, light warriors, healers, all of those amazing people who are here to make help with the transition that's currently happening in the world. Really get clear on why they're here, build that solid foundation in their business so that when things arise, they're able to overcome. Okay. So what I've noticed a lot in the soulpreneur and entrepreneur world is that, it can be very discouraging. You know, it's not an easy journey waking up and stepping into a higher calling than yourself and having to figure out how to relay or share your gifts to the world in a 3D matrix. So that's what we help inside of Rise, and we do that through helping you balance the 4 quadrants in your life, which is emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. And so the Rise Report, keep in mind, I am a non-traditional teacher. I teach from things that have helped me in my journey and overcome from being stuck, broke, worried, burning out, not being able to pay her bills, wondering, if I'm going to get another client, to having now 2 6-figure plus businesses. And Rise University is my mission of why I came here. So, we are going to talk about the energetics that are going on right now on our planet. And I approach it a little bit differently, and I'm inviting you to approach it as well. What got me really paying attention to the energetics and why I talk about them on this platform, not claiming to be an astrologer or anything like that. I am a human design reader. The reason I do that is because after many years, after my awakening, I was very in tune with what was going on inside of me. And your outer world is a reflection of what is happening inside. And so after paying attention to what was going on inside, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, it was really correlating with what's happening above. So as above, so below. I started to put 2 and 2 together, and that's when I went down on the path of astrology, and human design really cracked me wide open, and so forth. So I like to bring attention to you guys in a different way from what other people are doing, so that you can really start to tap in and get to know what's going on inside. Okay. I think we all need to take a big internal look, especially if your outer world is chaotic, if things are not aligning to where you want to be and so forth. We need to take a deeper look. Okay. I had a mentor say one time, you need to open up the hood. Okay. And find out what's going on. So, that's where I like to bring into this. And, if you are new here, these typically run anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. I can tend to be a little bit long-winded, but can't quite help that as well. So, right off the bat, the one thing that I want to talk about is that, what's coming up this week from this Wednesday to next Wednesday, today is December 3rd, is tomorrow we have a super full moon in Gemini, and it is the last full moon of the year. It's the last of a series of super moons, okay? And it just happens to be my moon. So I have a moon in Gemini, and I'm really feeling this. And I'm also a Pisces. So if you are a mutable, if you're a mutable sign, for one, in your big three, whether that is the sun, rising, or moon, or you have very strong mutable placements, you're going to feel this on a deeper level. And it's very important that you tap in, because there are things that I have been noticing that are happening inside of, what I'm going through in my current experience that you may be going through as well. So, core things about this full moon to take notice is that with it being a super full moon, your emotions, your nervous system can be very amplified. Okay. And this moon is happening in, it's happening in Gemini, but we are in the astrological sign of Sagittarius. It's Sagittarius season. And both of these energies can be very playful. Gemini can be a very playful, same with Sag energy. So be playful, okay? Tap into that inner child. The past couple of days here in Colorado, for those who know me and following my journey, I just moved to Colorado this year from Houston, Texas, and it's been snowing. And my inner child, my inner teenager is just so amped up to get outside. So it's like having fun, okay? What is going to bring more joy in your life? Start doing that. Gemini, talking on that, has a lot to do or is associated with your thoughts, habits, the inner dialogue that's playing, the stories that you may be playing, the choices that you're making, and where you're also focusing your attention. So where you're focusing your attention is going to be tied to your reticular activating system. And if you are not liking the things that are showing up in your awareness, go ahead and reprogram that bitch. Like, check in with your secretary, which is your reticular activating system, and get her to start sending you different memos, bringing you different experiences in your life, different thought patterns, the inner dialogue that you are having with yourself. We need to really put her on alert. And if you don't know what your reticular activating system is, it's the gateway. It is the secretary in your head. It is everyone who has, most people, I've heard some people will be like, that doesn't happen to me, and I have to question if they are human or not. But if you've ever gone shopping for a car and you say you want a red Ford pickup, okay, you're going to start to see the red Ford pickup everywhere. Whenever you go out, when you're driving on the road, there's going to be one, and you're going to wonder why this is all coming, showing up right now. And that has everything to do with your reticular activating system. That is the powerful piece of the mind that really filters what needs your attention right now out of everything else that that we are bringing in. Okay. There's so much. This is not about talking about the mind, but we do definitely dive deep in this inside of Rise Innerversity. So, me, personally, stumbling over my words. We're still in Mercury shadow. Going back to this full moon and this moon in Gemini, it's not a good time to manifest. Okay. I don't manifest in full moons. Never have made any changes during full moons. Full moons are a great time for clearing. So with this Gemini full moon coming up, be aware of that inner dialogue that is playing, because you can incorporate that into rituals to help you start to remove those blocks. Because if you're honest with yourself and you're journaling and you are, if you're honest with yourself and you're journaling your thoughts, what's coming up, your emotions, the inner dialogue, those are all things that you can really start to review over this season. This winter season is a great time for you to review, to start working on to clear, because in some way, shape, or form, I bet that one of those are replaying in your life in different circumstances, different experiences that you may be having with stepping into a greater purpose, and maybe a area that you are staying stuck at. So we always do clearing on the full moon. And this is something that I really show inside of Rise Innerversity, because I started incorporating, transformational packs. Okay. That you can integrate into the rituals and stuff that you are currently going through, or whatever you're working through inside of Rise. Okay. That may have gotten jumbled. Again, working with this full moon and coming out of Mercury retrograde. So I have my notes. This full moon is really going to show the collective and yourself on where you can do that head and that heart connection. Okay. There is a disconnect that is happening in the collective with that. We really need to step into leading with our hearts and knowing that that's where the truth really comes from. This can get in the way a lot of the times when we start to overanalyze. If you are someone who has a defined head center or an open head center, it can be different for you. But this really does not know shit. It is this that is going to lead you into your true purpose. And so this full moon, the super full moon, is really going to help you get connected with your head and your heart. And you can go deeper into the transformation packs that we create for all the members inside of Rise Innerversity. Now, the other transits that we are going to be experiencing within the next week, I'm just going to touch on, because again, I'm not a traditional astrologer, so I'm not going to get into the trines or anything. I really like to focus mainly on what the sun and the moon is doing. But when you start working with astrology, and even working with astrology with your human design, you're going to notice that it all plays a freaking part. Okay. The degrees, the angles, the outer planets, the big planets, really start to look at how that energy is impacting your life, because you will recognize the pattern. And that's what drew me into this, was that I was noticing the energy inside of me and how it was playing on my outer stage. And that's what pulled me into learning about this. And so like I invited you at the very beginning, is to start paying attention, be mindful. Take notice what's happening in your universe. Okay. So other transits that are happening is we're going to be Mercury trine Jupiter, Mercury trine Saturn, and Mars square Saturn. And that's going to be happening from now until next Wednesday. And this is really going to allow you to expand that it's going to have a mental expansion. Okay. So this full moon is in Gemini, which is an air sign. It rules the mind. Okay. So lots of mental stuff. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us, and you may be feeling, is coming out of this part in our life where we've been doing a lot of reviewing. Okay. Retrogrades. There have been so many different retrogrades that have been happening, and we're going direct, that the retrogrades are the so reevaluate, restructure, review, recalibrate. And we're moving into this energy in a very fun and playful kind of energy where we're going to be able to expand, but we're going to have this heart and head expansion happen within inside of us, that stuff that we have been reviewing, it's going to be easier for us to let go. We're going to be no longer needing that and moving in a more, positive direction to help us set that solid foundation. So I don't get on the bandwagon of the new year, new you. Everyone is posting, 2026, make it. Fuck all that. Like, if you're going to be real and you're going to be honest on your platform, and you're someone who follows the energetics and not the Gregorian calendar, we're in winter. There is no, we're moving into Yule, which is the winter solstice. And that is the marking point that we are going to be moving into real winter, the darkness period. Yule is the promise that the sun is going to rise again on the equinox. And so the springtime. And so this is a really great period for you to, start working on what seeds you are going to plant and nurture into the spring. Okay. How I've operated my business over the past 4 years now, and really structuring my life around the seasons, the Sabbats, and what is happening in nature and how we naturally should be operating. Okay. If you have ever farmed or been around a farming community, no one right now is outside planting fucking seeds in their fields. Okay. They know that their survival, their income, whatever their food sources, all the animals are doing this, relies on between spring, summer, and fall. This is why all of the Sabbats are important to really honor at a deeper level, because they are teaching us how we should be operating naturally. Okay. So, take this time to really start to allow that mental expansion, allow those big ideas to come in, allow, seeing possibilities, seeing some of you may be coming out of a very dark period where you're looking for that light in the tunnel, and Yule is promising you that the sun is going to return in the springtime. And so start to get really clear. I made a post on how you can get clear earlier today if you are having a lot of things pop up. But go read that post, because it's going to allow you to notice where you are, maybe adding things to your plate because your mind is saying that you have to do it. I've been noticing that a lot with my own journey. One thing I want to touch on that I made a note here is that when Mars squares Saturn, and I did not write the date, they believe it's next Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Keep in mind that there could be some frustration, some friction, some pushing against old structures. I feel like as we go through this mental awareness that's happening in a playful way. Bring in your inner child, because your 5-year-old knows before the programming came in that we are feeling the resistance that has been built within that matrix of that we have to do it this way, or that, you know, this program, this structure that may be happening there, it's dying, it's going away. That's what one of your purposes here, you know, is to bring in new ways of doing things that actually work and don't keep us enslaved as a humanity, that don't keep us trapped, don't keep us, you know, allowing our nervous systems to be dysregulated, to be under this constant pressure, this, where am I going to survive? How am I going to pay my bills? All of that, it's crumbling. So as we start to pierce through that, is what they're showing me. As we start to pierce through that, you may find some extra tension. Okay, there. Just notice how that's happening in your own world as you're going through this cycle within the next week. Okay, so this week is literally about seeing the truth, grounding that truth in, and stop sabotaging that truth. Okay, I'm huge in this. And what I mean by that is that we self-sabotage ourselves. Oh my God, I talked about this in the founding course here inside of Rise Innerversity, which is the roots before wings. And I'm queen of sabotaging. And you astrologers out there, I have Chiron in Taurus in the 3rd house. And the more I dive into that, we like to fucking just really make things a lot harder than what they need to be. And so I'm at this point, and where I'm at in my journey, I'm 46. I have this awareness of where I can see that repeated over and over in my life. So queen of self-sabotage, and queen of, you know, giving herself pep talks of getting out of our own fucking way. So just pay attention to where you are sabotaging your truth, and put that down on your little, okay, we're going to have to work and clear that, because that is a subconscious program that is playing that we need to work through. And we work through that with, all sorts of different things, but rituals. And that is where the transformation packs for members come in. Okay. On next Wednesday, December 10th, giving you a heads up. This is one of the biggest things that we have Neptune going direct. And, Neptune, you know, it really rules the intuition, the dreams, the inner vision, the creativity. It can really, you know, add some rose-colored glasses, especially it is in Pisces right now. So when it's retrograde and it's going back to direct, remember retrogrades have everything to do where we're reevaluating what's happening in our inner world, because our inner world is what's playing on the outer world. So we really need to find out what's going on and how these transitionings are affecting us. But when it's retrograde, there can be fog, confusion, self-doubt, illusion. You kind of noticed in my video, there's been moments where I've been in the flow of talking about something and it's like something goes, and so instead of me getting all like insecure and oh my God, I'm on live and I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, the old me would have sabotaged, taken everything down, ended it, but I didn't. I just kind of pushed through it and went with it. And it's important that we do that, because I feel like one of the things that is breaking, that illusion that is breaking, is the perfectionism. Shout out to the women who are going through a hormonal change, because I had an epiphany yesterday when I was standing way too much in my way I'm just going to share this story, but I was standing way too much in my way. What should have taken me like 3 hours to do took all fucking goddamn day. And I started to recognize, this is what prompted this report today. I was recognizing all of the stuff that was coming up inside of me. And I'm 46. I started going through the change at 37. I'm full into menopause right now. And any woman who is going through a change knows how much that affects your mental, okay? And so there are days where, thank God, I can remember my own fucking name, but I still suit up. I still show up. I do exactly what it is that I need to do, because the message is not about me. I'm showing up for you. Whatever's coming inside of me, it needs to be relayed. And the more that I get into this, sometimes if I step out of my own way, Source will step in and just start channeling. Just happened just a minute ago. So if you are a woman who is going through things, hormonal issues, and you are feeling like you have to compete with all of these other women who are not having the hormonal issues in that way, don't. Just get up, just do it, okay? I feel like we need to drop that perfectionism that's happening, especially in the coaching industry, because then we can get into a comparison zone. I don't want to say zone, but thing that starts to happen. Can't think of the word. So moving forward with that, going back to Neptune going direct, when it starts to move direct, you may start to feel this energy coming into next week. After next Wednesday, I'll dive a little bit deeper on it next week, because that's when it does go direct on the 10th, which is next Wednesday. The fog, may start to lift. I'm also taking that into consideration with everything else that we're fucking going through, to have some compassion. So the point in my story earlier is to have some compassion on yourself. Okay? We all need a little bit of love and joy in our life. Your intuition will start to get sharper, and your vision will start to become clearer, and that creative energy will start to flow again. So if you are feeling stuck, things are not clear, things are not moving through, all of that, just, again, give it some time. Things are shifting. So, I touched on this a little bit before, but I am more into talking about the energetics and what is happening seasonally, and really tapping into the Sabbats. And so we are coming into Yule, and Yule is the winter solstice. That is really a promise. It's a point in the seasons that we know we're entering into winter. And if you have, if you live on the other side of the world, okay, or different parts of our planet, there are times in the winter where they don't have sunlight, okay? They're in darkness between that whole period. So Yule was a point of a promise that the sun, okay, is going to rise again in the spring. That's where we get the spring equinox. And the spring equinox always happens, actually Easter, Easter, when Jesus, the sun, rose, is calculated in the Gregorian calendar. The first Sunday after the full moon of the equinox is how they calculate Easter, because it changes every year. I worked as an event planner in a country club, and my one line in human design got curious. So I'm like, why is Easter not on the same day? Well, that's why, if you ever wanted to know. So from the Yule, the winter solstice, to the spring equinox is really a promise that the sun is going to rise again in the spring. And so this is the ample time for you to, really, it's the darkest point of the year. It's the time that we should find out, what are we going to be planting in our garden for the next season? Okay. So reevaluating those things. All this energy that we have been going through, these retrogrades, 2025 has been a freaking intense year for a lot of people. You know, it's showing you what's not fucking working. It really is. I've been cutting things out, just like my story yesterday, spending way too much fucking time on things. And I was like, is this necessary? Like, why do I think this is necessary? Why am I doing this? Why am I investing my energy? Is it because I think that it needs to be done because XYZ someone told me? And most likely that's what it is. And I have been really simplifying my business. And the more that I simplify, the more that I'm actually seeing results than being on that fucking hamster wheel, doing all the stuff that I think I should be doing that's not really the purpose. So, the solstice coming into that, which is, you know, I don't like to see it as a set time of the year. Like, it's not always the 21st. It's between the 20th and the 22nd. Okay. So that's when it really marks. That's where I'm going to be celebrating it. I don't celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Yule. Christmas is Yule. It is a pagan holiday. They just have tried to cover up its pagan's roots by giving it a different day. That's it. So, when you are going into Yule and the solstice, I personally don't agree with setting any type of new beginnings. Okay. When you set that, you know, damn, I even forgot what the word is. New Year's resolutions. I don't do any of that. I set all the seeds that I'm going to be planting in my garden all happen in the spring. So this is why I feel most people don't, you know, succeed with their resolutions, because they are trying to plant a garden when it's snowy and cold outside and nothing's going to allow it to grow. So that's just my 2 cents. Hey, hon, thank you so much, guys, for joining in. So I'm trying to look at my notes. Just make sure that whatever seeds that you're going to start to plant within your journey of, you know, going through the Yule and between the period of time between Yule and the spring equinox, just start to review what you want to plant in the spring. What garden are you going to tend to? What do you want your garden to look like? Ask yourself that. Go do a vision board. I have so many pictures of the way that I want my gardens to look at. That should be really fun for you to tap into your inner child and everything like that. So, start to think, what do you want to plant in your garden? I've got my ideas down. I haven't shared them just yet, but there's big things coming to Rise Innerversity. One thing I want to touch on that they're telling me to share is that if your ideas don't scare the fucking shit out of you, you're not going big enough. Okay? And I'm going to rephrase that. It's not your ideas. What your intuition is telling you, because you can have ideas all day long. But if your intuition is telling you to go a certain direction and your mind gets in the way of, you know, justifying that, you know, is that possible? Can I do that? And all that other stuff that the mind does, and starts to give you the ideas to replace what your intuition is saying. Go with your intuition, because your higher self always knows. I like to touch a little bit on the human design transits. So the current gates that are activating us right now is gate 5 and gate 35. Okay. And that is in the sun and the earth. And this is all about rhythms, timing, patterns, change, experience, and emotional cycling. And I like to bring in the human design transits because we can see how astrology is being the puppet master, okay, and pulling the strings on us through what our human design is. And through this whole thing, getting into it, you heard me talk a lot about cycles, rhythms, getting in tune with that. So when the sun really impacts the human design and you know, what's going on with the earth transits is that it's illuminating that specific section of, you know, where you're being pulled, why you may feel the need to focus on that. So allow that, because it's giving you the energy to do that. If you don't know what your human design is, definitely get a reading. You can reach out to me. I would love to do a reading for you. I could send you some information, because it's really amazing that when you start to especially pay attention to the transits and how that's impacting your chart. If you are a non-energetic type, just like, you know, I am, I'm a manifestor, but if you're a projector or a reflector, or another manifestor, you're non-energetic type, you may wake up being very energetic because you're defined in a certain way. So, I will do more videos on that later, but not tie into that. I just kind of like to bring the awareness that from now until next week, you may start to see those things where, you know, you're waiting for the right time. Something inside of you is telling you not to do it in this moment. You may start breaking out of those survival habits. I know that I have. I've had a conversation with a friend today. I'm going to tell on myself, just like yesterday, doing something. I got way too much in my head where I was adding things to my to-do list. And I had another epiphany that there's a difference between a to-do list. Then I'll give you an example. If you're a project manager and you know the difference between a project and a task, okay? And sometimes you add things to your to-do list that is actually a project and not a task. Because a project can have so many motherfucking tasks inside of it. And if you have ever built anything behind the scenes, you know that there's so much that goes into that. It's the product, the digital product that you have to build, the landing page, the copyright, the automations, the email list, setting up the email list, and all of this fucking shit that goes into one thing that you're just trying to promote, not even know if anyone's gonna fucking like it in the first place. So with that said, you know, I recognized that the old me, even though it's a great idea and I want to do it, the old me was doing things out of survival, okay? Because, you know, I felt like I needed to have this thing to give me whatever relief. I have an open root, so it just added more pressure on my open root. And then I was doing things to relieve that pressure from my open root. And nothing really relieves it until you just fucking recognize that it's there. And ask yourself, okay, well, do I need to respond to this pressure? Is it like, am I going to die if I don't? That's how I started to approach it. And if I'm not going to die from it, well, then okay, it's there. I acknowledge you, but you don't have to keep pushing on me to do it, because it's just bringing up my survival patterns. And that's a whole nother thing to fucking recognize, is how are your survival patterns being highlighted? Okay. And that's different. It can manifest in so many different ways as well. Anger, you know, if you're someone who fawns, okay, someone who goes into people pleasing, if you ghost, I've done it all. I've gotten angry. I've been a fawn. I've ghosted things. I've abandoned projects. I have so much shit behind the scenes because survival patterns started to show themselves, and I didn't know exactly what that was, that it did not fully get completed. So, all this energy that we're going to be going through the next week is going to really bring an awareness to this. So I ask you to step into being mindful that when things happen, because we're entering into it should be calming. We've had so much going on this whole fucking year. We should just ease into the winter. But that's not how they designed it. It is now chaotic with holidays and rushing and spending with family and busy. Everyone is out shopping, consumerism, all that other stuff, to actually take a step back and just be kind of mindful. Okay? Slow down a little. Ease into the winter. Enjoy it. All right? Don't rush. You don't want to force momentum. You want to work with the energy, not go against it. So overall, mindset is everything. Your inner dialogue is the one that's driving the decisions. So start to pay attention to it. Survival mode is no longer a fucking strategy, guys. We need to work on getting out of that. And that's exactly what we do inside of Rise Innerversity. Stop doing the fucking shit that you think you just need to do. Ask yourself, with any of that, okay? There's some things that are, awareness that I'm noticing in specific communities where they feel like they have to do something because everyone else is doing it. But they're really not asking where they're coming from. Where is that pressure coming from? What makes them feel compelled that they need to do the next thing? If it's not in your heart, if it is not to help the next person, if it's any way an ego, your shadow, don't fucking do it. Period. Okay? Just don't. I'm asking myself these questions. I want peace and to simplify my life, not make it overcomplicated. And yesterday was a huge awareness for me on that because, again, what I was working on should not have taken that much time, but it was all fucking day. So, your clarity will start to increase as the week goes on, and this is a season for reflection and not performance. We are preparing for the return of light. Things that, now for this, I really typically go into the announcement. If there's anything that you've heard on this video, thank you for joining, guys, for those of you who did, even if you are watching the replay. If anything resonated with you, if I kind of brought some awareness, aha moments, definitely reach out to me. I would love to help you. If you want more information of Rise Innerversity, I'm going to go through that here in just a moment. You can comment Earthkeeper or Guild on any of these videos or any of my posts. My little automation will send you the information to get enrolled and get inside of Rise, because coming into next year, there's lots of magical things that are going to be happening, because as I get clear on these things, my outer world is going to shift. So that includes the platform, the way that I approach things, the way that I'm showing up, the way that I'm teaching, and the way that I'm giving an impact to you, because that is why I'm here, guys. It's not about me, and it's about helping you get to the next part in your journey, because we all need to get there. We have a world to help heal. I think a lot of us this year, moving into the next year and further along on this journey, none of us likes what we are seeing in the state of the world. I don't give a fuck who you voted for. If you are not seeing it, then you're really not going to like me, because in my opinion, I'm going to question if you're human. But a lot of us are to the point where we want to see fucking change in the world. And we do not trust the people who are playing bigger parts on the outer stage. Most of us are not even trusting the people who we're following on the outer stage. And that is what this energy is doing. It's going to bring up that awareness. It's going to shed that light. It's going to remove those rose-colored glasses and push you into stepping into your purpose. And if you are someone who feels that they're here for a greater purpose, we need you fucking now. Period. All right. So that's what we're coming into. That is what the Rise report is about. I hope that these really help you guys, just to kind of bring more awareness of what's going on. Inside of Rise, Innerversity, if you don't know what that is, the Earth Keepers Guild is our monthly membership into our private skole. Okay. I've come up with I've seen people pronounce it in different ways. I didn't come up with it, but I've seen people pronounce it in different ways. And what that is the Greek word for leisure learning. Okay. There's no pressure inside of Rise. We're not all on the same journey. We're not all going the same speed. And we need a nurturing environment that's going to help you get into your own rhythm. That's all I really want you to do, is to find your own rhythm and jump on that energetic flow and go. So how we do that is through several different things inside of Rise. You start with our foundational course, which is the Roots Before Wings, and that's going to really help you get back to the core of who you are, really start to pay attention to the world through a mindfulness lens, and recalibrate and balance those areas of your life, the personal, mental, spiritual, and physical levels, so that you can really, whatever happens, you have the necessary tool to approach that. You're not viewing life as, why is it happening to me? It's happening for me. So switch a perspective. Outside of that, there's things that are going to be more integrated into Rise coming into next year. The Earn As You Learn program that I run. So we give you all the tools. It's really a done for you community. So if you're looking on not only balancing your life, but learning how to do all of the masculine things when it comes to your business, landing pages, funnels, sequences, copywriting, all of that. We do that. We cover that as well inside of Rise. There's more courses that are going to be coming out. So with that, I'm going to shut up for right now, because I've been going on for a couple moments or minutes, probably about an hour now. And I want to wish you guys a beautiful and blessed day. Again, you can comment Guild or Earthkeeper on any of these videos or post, and it will send you the automation. I will pop in and say hi if I see that it sends an automation, because I want you guys to know that I'm also paying attention. If I don't reach out to you, it's because it went to a different folder, but don't worry, I do check it. And we have a couple of free communities here. There is a channel on IG if you want to join. And then we also have one on Telegram where I give you more additional trainings. There's free trainings in there and stuff like that to help you on your journey. So with that, I hope you guys have a beautiful and blessed day, and I will see you and talk to you later. Bye now.